Alright everyone, I'm Joe. I am a tiny portion of the band Apophenia. I'm here today to talk about the song Inertia, which I wrote and Evan kind of mixed mastered, put everything together in his beautiful, unique way. So Inertia came about, I was sitting in my room, much like I am right now, and just kind of plunking away on an acoustic guitar, not unlike this one. And I came across this chord progression, really kind of standard chord progression. Very cyclical, very kind of lends itself to looping and playing over and over again. It feels like it doesn't really go anywhere. But the strumming pattern is what kind of got me into the song. It's this very dependent on upstrokes, which is a little unusual for me on guitar. And it reminded me of this kind of lethargic, sort of chained kind of thing. Like it wanted to go somewhere and do something different and be more kind of heavy on the downbeats or whatever, but it wasn't. It was this slogging kind of pushing thing that wanted to go somewhere and didn't. And so the word inertia popped into my mind when I was, writing this. And I was like, oh, that's a cool word. We all know the word inertia from, high school science class or whatever. So I started writing a melody, started writing lyrics and whatever. That didn't end up making it into the final draft of the song because they weren't that good. And we start layering things. And it starts with just acoustic guitar and drums. Very sparse instrumentation, not a lot going on, tons of space. But the space is being filled by this. Big strummed acoustic guitar chords that take up a lot of the frequency spectrum. And drums, of course, which take up a lot of the frequency spectrum. But there are still holes to fill in the song. So the first verse goes around like that. And I had in my mind, okay, this needs to go somewhere. It needs to build somewhere. And so we end up with a pre-chorus section that's short and kind of real simple, just G to B flat kind of progression, which is out of the key, which was part of the point. It adds some tension, adds some dimension to the song. And then we get into the chorus. Which sounds pretty standard for the first couple of chords, and then you get that one to that one, which is this E flat major chord to a D. E flat's out of the key. Sounds very tense against this, all the other chords that are going on, so you end up with is this very jarring kind of sound, but it's brief. And then you're back in the key, and then it resolves. And it sounds like a normal kind of song. I was pulling from like Radiohead and bands like that when I was thinking of that progression because I wanted that kind of, again, jarring, different kind of sound to it. And then we do the bridge after the first chorus, which is a little weird. Normally you have a song that goes verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. We did verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, and then the outro was this kind of vamp on the chorus. And that's a little unusual, and again, it's to give this song this familiar yet different kind of vibe. And the bridge is very simple, but it's a stark contrast to the rest of the song. The rest of the song, the guitar is playing, strums. Very big space-filling strumming guitar parts that are, a little more involved than this, nice, gentle, arpeggiated thing that's going on in the bridge. The bridge also introduces some of the electric guitar layers that start to come in and build toward the end of the song that end up exploding into this huge thing in the last chorus. So the song is initially carried by just basically two instruments. You have the drums and the acoustic guitar. Bridge introduces some electric guitars, and then toward the end of the second verse, we get this electric guitar part playing some lead type stuff. You can kind of hear it. And then other guitars come in and they start building and building and building, and then it explodes into this last chorus, which is this big, huge, anthemic, multi-layered thing, which is a far cry from where we came from, just playing a couple of chords on an acoustic guitar and strumming them in kind of a weird way. And that was the point of the song, was to build and to call upon these influences of mine, like Radiohead and Muse and so on, building into this big, huge cacophony. There's a lot of cool little nuances in some of the guitar parts. Evan's production and mixing and mastering are incredible, obviously. That kind of carries the song. The drums have this big, huge sound to them, and the guitar sits nicely in the mix, and the other guitars come in, and everything kind of fits nicely together. And everything sounds great. And I really like the way the song turned out. I think that it's one of my better ones, one of my better compositions from recently. So yeah, that's been Inertia. Thank you for watching.